Hello, garden friends. It is June 8th, Saturday, 2024, and just got done mowing the lawn, so I figured I would come do a video. I think it's the first one of the season because I was a bad YouTuber and didn't film the spring cool flowers being planted. It is what it is. Well, we can start right here. This was our burn pile, and rather than reseeding it, we're turning it into more growing space. This is an unintentional crop of kale. Clearly, I pulled up a kale plant and put it on the burn pile, and the seeds took. And the funny thing is, it's been a couple years since I've grown kale here. So, yeah, they just kind of sprouted out of nowhere. This tarp was over on this bed for a long while, and so I just moved it over kind of to expand the garden. This bed eventually will hold sunflowers. Right now, it has a bunch of doubtful dahlia tubers in it. I figured I would throw them in the ground, and if they sprouted, I could dig them up and transplant them. I don't think they're going to sprout, so we'll see. And you can see something has been digging at them. Who knows? These are the first succession of sunflowers that I planted earlier in April. We actually have signs of flowers. So hopefully in a couple more weeks we will have sunflowers. Usually it's somewhere around the third week of June that I get them. This is cool flowers. These are Orlea. This Orlea I actually planted. I transplanted. I started it from seed, transplanted it in March, and it's blooming at the same time as the Orlea that overwintered. So I'm thinking next year I'm going to hold off and not plant this until April. Same thing with the Gypsophilia. This is started from seed and it's just blooming too early. The peonies are gone now, so I have nothing to go with them. So I'm going to plant them a little later next year. Forgive the weeds, but Bells of Ireland, it's been a while since I've grown them because they are so hard to germinate, but I got some to go this year, so we'll see how it goes. I think it's been 2 or 3 years since I've grown them. The first year I grew them, they did okay. The second year they got all diseased and I just gave up on them, so we'll see. This row here is going to be dahlias. Some of them just got transplanted. As a rule, I don't transplant my dahlia tubers until I see sprouts on them. So all of the markers you see are dahlias that had sprouts on them. These next 3 rows are perennials. So I've got coneflowers and rudbeckia, irises. These are daylilies. All of these are gonna go. They're not cut flowers, and I need this space, so I am going to move them to other parts of the landscape, still be able to enjoy them, but not in the garden. More perennials here. This was actually, at one time, this was the last row of the garden, and so we've expanded that way, as you can see. I've got Coreopsis, I've got Dusty Miller, yarrow. You can see the daffodils have gone by. There's mums, there's more irises down at the end, Shasta daisy, just lots of perennials in here. This is the second succession of tomatoes that have gone in. There are some interesting varieties here. I'll walk you through them in case you want to know. We've got Kurdish Cheek. I have only grown that one once before and I only had one plant, so I wanted to give it a second try. So Kurdish Cheek, Pineapple Premier, Girl's Weird Thing, which I got seeds in a swap, so I'm interested on that one. This is straight from Italy. It's a ox heart. A friend of mine bought seeds for it at the Connecticut Home and Garden Show, not this February, the February before. And so I wanted to try that. This is an ox heart from a friend of mine. We don't know what kind it is. This is an Abigail tomato. This is an Earl. Paul Robeson. We've got a Hillbilly. This one is called Fortunia. And again, this one, I bought seeds from a person, not a company, because it's an ox heart that is great, very meaty, but not available commercially. I've got a Jersey Giant here. I've got a spot for one more, so I need to decide what's going in there. And then I have 2 Jersey Devils. Those are determinate, which is why they are in cages and not being staked. Over here in this row is the Glads and the Snapdragons. I just got them netted, and it looks like I did that just in time because they're starting to grow through. This is the second succession of sunflowers. I did transplants and then I did seeds. And this just confirms to me why I do not plant sunflowers from seeds. Many people swear by it. I just do not get good germination. I've got a whole tray that have sprouted, and I will transplant into this spot. So this is overwintered Orlea. You can see it's blooming. It's beautiful. The yarrow is just coming in, so I'll have some yarrow. I've got blue plurum that has reseeded itself everywhere. And then this is zinnias, so we'll see how they do. They're not looking fantastic, and I don't know what's going on with them, so I'm going to start some more of those too, just as backup. Orlea that reseeded itself. I believe this was the original spot that I planted it in, and it just comes back. It actually sprouts in the fall and lasts through our winters. Bupleurum. These I started from seed, but I do have Bupleurum elsewhere in the garden that reseeded itself. The feverfew came back, and last year I debated pulling it out because it was so short I couldn't use it in bouquets. But we had a mild winter. It did really well. Maybe it's just like it needed time to, how the saying goes, the first year it sleeps, the second year it creeps. This is the third year, so it's leaping, and I'm glad I left it because this is certainly tall enough to be able to use in bouquets. I've got a whole stand of bachelor's buttons here that are just starting. More yarrow. I don't know how the corn cockle got stuck in there, but there she is. I should have planted more of that. So lesson learned. What is this row? Not sure. Let's see what the sign says. Oh, mystery dahlias. So I have some mystery dahlias here. What is this? I don't know. It could be a weed or it could be something that overwintered. So I just left it and we'll see how it goes. This whole patch of lacy looking foliage is Nigella that reseeded itself. Again, Orlea and Bupleurum that reseeded itself, and I just let them stay. So this Nigella, again, like the Orlea, it just reseeds itself and it comes back. And I've got some more dahlias over there that I just put in the ground, so they haven't poked through yet. This row, Orlea, I've got Sweet William in bloom. This overwintered, and that's why it's ready so early. I've got to come out and cut that so that I get production all season long. More feverfew here. And this is, ooh, look at this. Look at. And what is this called? It's gone from my brain. I think it begins Clarkia. It's Clarkia. And there's another name for it, but Clarkia is one name. And I loved it last year, and so I wanted to plant more of it. So not only did I plant more of it, I planted several varieties of it. So I'm excited to see that that's coming. Oh, look, more feverfew. And I love this kind because it reminds me of the baby's breath that we had. We had a big bush of baby's breath growing up, and the flower looks just like that. So that reseeded itself, and again, it gets to stay because it's got a will to live. More bachelor's buttons, more nigella, as you can see. It's a heavy cedar. Gypsophilia that I must have planted there. I don't remember it. That's, I think, is an eryngium, or it's just a weedy thistle. Who knows? There's more. I think that's Sweet William or some sort of dianthus, maybe. I threw in some radish seeds, so we've got radishes coming. And usually, I do not grow vegetables here, but I have an heirloom variety of squash that I grow at the second location, and I didn't want it cross-pollinating with my zucchini and my summer squash. So the zucchini and the summer squash are now growing in the flower garden. So that's what that is. More over here. And then this row is the first succession of tomatoes that I planted. Not all of them are marked, so I know that this is a watermelon beefsteak. I think this is a Thorburns terracotta. This is a Sartre Rouloir. Oh, it's another pineapple premier. I wouldn't have planted the second one if I remembered I had that one, but that's okay. This one is Hungarian heart. We have a German pink. We have a Krinkovic Yugoslavian, a bread and salt, and this is an Ananas Noir. So most of these are tomatoes that I have grown before and were favorites, and that's why I put them in the first succession, because I wanted to be sure that I had them in the ground. This next row is dahlias. As you can see, they're popping through. Some of them have yet to pop through. I don't know if they will or won't. They did all have eyes on them when I put them in the ground. I just got them netted today. So between this row, the row I just showed you, and that row over there, I think I have 100 some odd in the ground. These two rows are the only rows that are not planted. One will be for future succession of sunflowers, and one will be for more zinnias, and I have some celosia and warm season flowers that I want to get in the ground. These dahlias are ahead of the others because this was the first row that got planted. This row, I don't know if you can see right there, I did basil from seed, so they have sprouted. These are some Oklahoma zinnias that, again, they're not looking too great, so I'm gonna start another succession of them. We've got some volunteer gladiolas that get to stay. I have dill that I needed to cage because apparently we had a bunny, and the bunny ate a lot of the seedlings that I planted, and I was not happy. So over here we have some sedum. Ooh, I need to get in here. Look at all the weeds. There are some Canterbury bells in there and a lot of weeds. These two rows are daffodils that are just catching energy in their bulbs for next year. At some point, when most of the foliage dies back, I will chop it. I will take the weeds out of the beds, and then hopefully I will find something to grow in the beds. Daffodils are alleliopathic, which means they give off a chemical that inhibits seeds from sprouting, and it can also stunt the growth of seedlings. So I have yet to find anything that does fantastically in these beds. Once the daffodils go to sleep and the bulbs are still in the ground. But yeah, we'll see. Because I mean, this is 2 spaces worth of growing that I can fill during the summer. I just don't know what to fill it with. This bed is evolving. It was kind of a wasted space last year because I let the weeds get it. And so this year I said no thank you to the weeds. We have some, I forget the scientific word. It's mullein. It's not the weed mullein. It is, I planted it from seed last year. So this will be the first year that it blooms, and it's got beautiful like pinky beigey blossoms. This is Eryngium, again planted from seed last year. So this is the first year we're getting flowers. I came in yesterday and completely weeded this section. It was overgrown with clover. You can see here what I was dealing with. But I planted mahogany sun hibiscus, and this type of hibiscus is grown for its foliage, not flowers. It'll get probably 5 or 6 feet high, and I'm hoping that it will shade out the clover. And I know that unlike a lot of other things, it can certainly compete with the clover. So that's why I planted that there. Some bulbs, I have no idea what they are. Lilies, these were all planted last year. I bought them on clearance. So it'll be a surprise as to what they are. Phlox is getting ready to bloom. This is another area that I need to clear out so that I can plunk something there. This is a plant, believe it or not. I forget what it is, but it's got to go because it's not thriving. And this is Ansonia. It was covered in blossoms, but it's a very early bloomer. And I was thinking of moving it because it blooms too early for me to use as a cut flower, but the foliage is great in bouquets. So I think that's going to stay there. You can see over here the Baptisia is in bloom. I have used it in a couple early bouquets, but it is just covered in pollinators. They love it. And so for no other reason than that, the Baptisia is going to stay. It's grown into the walkway. Like it's just really overgrown. It's thriving. But it doesn't transplant well, so it's just staying. We have more Eryngium, and all of this is Liatris. Some of it purple, some of it white. And so they will probably the end of the month, they'll be in bloom. Oh, I love my husband, but he just weed whacked my pycnanthemum. It will grow back. It will grow back. This is mountain mint. I had a whole section of it, and now I don't. It's okay. I love him. In back, I'm trying sweet potatoes. I don't know if I'm growing them right or if they will live or what. I do know that critters love them, so I tried to protect them. I didn't try real hard, but it is what it is. And these 3 darlings are mulberry trees. And last year I got enough mulberries to make jam, and this year we're getting even more. Can you see the little mulberries? And the comfrey is obviously loving life, so I'll have to come in and chop this and use it for mulching because it's a great mulch plant. Let me squeeze through the Baptisia here. So that's it in a nutshell. This is what the June garden looks like. In a couple of weeks, like I said, we'll have the sunflowers. I just did this for saying I didn't.